Hey YouTube, this is a video on 2007 Nissan Pathfinder. Just had to replace the tie rods and sway bar, whatever the heck they're called. Anyway, it was a major pain. Looking for the parts, bear with me. So here's the original tie rod. I'd watched a few YouTube videos, one in particular, how to get this all apart. First you gotta spray everything down really good with WD-40 and spray it here. You can kind of see how it's still, shinier than the back end there. And also, if you're gonna do the sway bar joints, spray those down as well. Those were a pain. Anyway, once you get that done, take this what do you call it, pin off. It'll be all rotted and it might break. Again, watched a few videos. I tried to use needle nose pliers and it wasn't working that well. So then I ended up using wire cutters, and I was able to start, obviously, straighten these out. I was able to start pull it out. Then it snapped off, but I was able to pull out the other end from here. So that was fine. This nut was pretty tough to get off. Basically, you just have to keep working on it. I used that bar with a regular wrench. I can't see it, I'm looking for it. Anyway, just a regular socket wrench, and put the bar on it just for more leverage, and reefed on it, and got it to loosen. I do have one air tool, so once I got it going a little bit, I just use that to get it the rest of the way off. Otherwise it takes a while. It's a pretty decent sized nut, and it just takes a while to get off. So I'll just say get it off, but I couldn't break it with the tool. So I ended up using a breaker bar with the socket wrench. This side, total pain. Again, WD-40 the hell out of it, let it sit there, whatever. I was using a mallet with a crescent wrench that I put away already, because I didn't have anything, an open-end wrench that would fit on here. So I just had to use a crescent wrench, and trying to figure out which way to break it. In other words, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, and I just couldn't figure it out. Anyway, it ended up being banging it down on both sides, because basically what you're doing is you're walking this nut up a little bit, and once you free this from this, and you have this, once you unscrew this, leave the nut kind of on it so it stays in here, because if it comes out, it'll just dangle and twist or whatever, and you can't work on it. So leave it in here, and then keep working on this. I kind of left it somewhat, tight, not majorly tight, but just so there wasn't much wiggle room in it. And I just beat the piss out of this, and finally, it freed up. Again, used the mallet with the crescent wrench on it, and it finally broke. And then what you do is, this is the adjustment for your I'm trying to think of the term, I can't think of it, but for your steering, so that way if it pulls to one side or the other, alignment, thank you. So this is an adjustment for your alignment. Now, once you break it, you want to figure out how many turns it took to set it free. And so I saw one guy, he marked with a paint pen, and then you kind of back it out over where the paint pen was. So I just kind of counted 1, 2, 3, just enough to give me enough space away from the two of them. Then I popped that out, twisted that all the way off, put the new one back on, put it on almost, and then stuck it up inside here, and then brought this back how many times that I went up with it. Brought it back that many times. You know, this is connected, this is up in here. You don't have to make it fully tight, but just so you can turn this back without the whole thing turning as many times. Then once I knew it was back to the same amount of times, I popped it back out and finished twisting it up so it lined up with it tightly. Popped it back in here, screwed this down, made sure that it was tight, put the pin back in, and then just snugged that as tight as I could right there. And that's pretty much done. These down here, pain in the ass. I saw one guy, because what happens is, if you look in here, aftermarket has a little Allen wrench. The new ones, or the old ones, don't. So you start reefing on this to get it off, and the whole thing is turning inside of here. So you're like, great. So I had more room, a little bit more room inside here. And what I did is I used a monkey wrench, because it's going to keep spinning. Don't try vice grips. I tried. Don't try. This one guy cut this whole thing off and then took a mallet and a long ass screwdriver, excuse my French, sorry, and popped this whole thing off, so all it was showing was the ball. I didn't even bother with that. I just stuck in between here the monkey wrench, because it's good for pipes. Got it in there really snug, and then I started turning on that, and I was able to pop it. Did the same for the bottom one. This thing comes right out. Then when you get the new one, I'll show you what the old one looks like. So when you get the new one, you can see how these move pretty freely because they're toast. When you get the new one, it's like rock hard. It's really hard. So you have to break them first so that you can move them. They still won't move anything like this. I mean, these are toast, but you'll be able to move them some, and you need to be able to get it all back inside here. So once you break them, you know, they come with nuts. Leave the nuts on, and you know, I just took a bar. Literally, I stuck one end in the bar, and put my foot on it, and then just kind of pulled back until it went like that. Did the same thing with that. Put my foot on it, put the bar, cheater bar on it, and pulled it back. And then I manhandled them a little bit until they were somewhat easier to move. Still, like I said, nothing like this. You're never going to be able to do that. So once you get them so that you can maneuver them, you drop it back in here. I put the bottom one in first. Let me see if I can get you closer. So I put this one in first, and then I had to use another cheater bar, pry bar, and I stuck it in between here and that nut. And I pried down on this bar so that I could get this to come forward inside of it. Once you can get it enough that you can get this nut on here, then you should be good. You're going to keep holding it down, get that nut on there, and then you're all set. And then you can just start screwing them back in. That's basically it, guys. This is, for my truck anyway, 64 foot-pounds, and my lug nuts for a Nissan Pathfinder 07 are 83. 83 foot-pounds for the lug nuts again. So that's basically it. Why I did this, I was getting some vibration. And again, you know, if you look at my tie rod, again, you see how I can just manhandle that? Your new one, you won't be able to do that, no way. So, I mean, this has 170,000 miles on it, and it's toast. So, you know, you can imagine going down the road, here's your vibration, you know. And the sway bars, again, same thing. I mean, there's just nothing left to stop the vehicle from swaying or having a crap ride. So that's why I did it. Should fix the problem. I did the other side first, so I am done after this. All I have to do is put the tire on. So I did the other side first, drove it, much less vibration. I know that as soon as this one's done, it's going to be good as new. So that's basically it, guys. Again, you know, just take your time, These nuts are a pain. Once you get it loosened, count how many rotations. You know, you don't have to. I went like, you know, from here to here, here to here, here to here. You know what I mean? And so I knew that's all I had to do once I connected the wrench here to there, disconnect there to there. You know, it's not rocket science. So I just did that, and yeah, should be good to go. Anyway, again, '07 Nissan Pathfinder, tie rods and sway bar links. That's what I'm going to call them anyway. Anyway, rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on YouTube. Like I said, use DW40 and let it sit for a bit, because those nuts are pretty tough to get off. All right, guys, thanks a lot.